you ever get pulled over by the police for whatever reason, after greeting you, the police officer will most likely start asking you questions like, can I see your driver's license, your registration, and your proof of insurance? Or do you have proof of insurance? And what is he doing? He's assessing the situation. He wants to establish who you are. An unwise response to that would be none of your business. Because it's unwise, but also the police officer wants your good. And he wants the common good. If you ever go to the doctor and he asks you questions as well. How are you feeling? How are you eating? Are you exercising? Again, it would be inappropriate and even rude to say, none of your business, because that's his job. He wants to know quick information quickly to assess the situation, to establish who you are for your good, for the common good, for the good of the family and good of the community. But if we were honest, we don't like to be interrogated. But probing questions are important. Around this time in December every year, we used to get always these envelopes from the diocese, from Bishop Vasquez. We called them the green sheets. Now they just send them to us in an email, but they're still green and yellow. And all they are is questions for us, priests. How are you doing? Are you saying your office? Have you gone on retreat this year? Have you made your yearly physical? Have you taken a vacation? And when it asks those questions, it asks you to give you dates. They want to know dates and where you went. Well, it's a little bit of an interrogation. Again, the proper response to Bishop Vasquez wouldn't be, none of your business. He probably would say, well, I'll make it my business. Because they have a right to know, and they want my good, your good, the common good. And I appreciate, John the Baptist today, as well as Isaiah and Mary, that the psalm we read was really not a psalm. It was the Blessed Mother's response when she tells us and they tell us who they are. My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord. He has done great things for me. I am one crying out in the desert. That's who I am. To say again, rejoice. That we're people of joy. That's who we are. To see every time a direct question, a chance to evangelize, to a chance to educate, to a chance to catechize. A few years ago, I buried my grandmother. She was like 97, but my niece was only like 4 years old. And quite honestly, she just came up and she said, Uncle Johnny, why are you wearing that dress? To chance to explain why I'm dressed. These are not a dress, it's a vestment. And really, a year ago right now, a little 8-year-old or 7-year-old girl came up and said, why are you wearing pink? Well, it just stands for something. It means rejoice. It's supposed to be people of joy. And she goes, Father John, you look amazing in pink. Thanks, I guess. Today, the priests and the Levites approach John the Baptist, and you could say they interrogate him. They're pummeling him. Well, not just questions on getting to know you, what's your favorite color, what do you like to eat? They ask important questions like, who are you? What are you? Are you the prophet? And like Sister Mary Agnes used to say, what do you have to say for yourself? And why do you do the things that you do? He never says none of your business. He answers them all in turn because they're important to try and assess who he is. They know the Messiah is coming. They want to find out if it's him. He's baptizing. He's doing things different. He is calling them out and reaching out to the poor the people on the fringes. And so they ask the important questions. Who are you? What are you? And what do you have to say for yourself? They're taking an account, establishing the situation like a good doctor, like a good police officer, like a good teacher, asking probing questions. And to do so, and hopefully they receive it. Whenever we're asked a question about our faith, we answer with joy and gratitude. And instead of saying, none of your business, we respond with, I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you asked. 1 Peter 3 is the main text of this when it says, always be ready to give an answer for the hope that is in you. Always be ready to give an answer. People will ask you questions about your Catholic faith. And hopefully you don't say none of your business. Hopefully we're ready to give an answer. And that word there, to give answer or response, the Greek word there is apologia, which is where we get the term apologetics. To be able to defend and answer with a good attitude and with joy. And to say, I am so glad that you asked. Now, having said that, as the deacons and the priests and the staff here, when Bishop Vasquez does ask us, how is your community doing? Who is coming to church? How is everything going? Well, he has a right to know that, and I think it works for us and it helps us to do that too. So today, we're going to do that. I have a bunch of questions for you. Don't get nervous. We're not going to ask for a show of hands. You don't have to give a speech, unless you want. But we'd like to take a survey today for the greater good to assess the parish situation. Don't worry, this is completely anonymous, and we'd ask you to have a good attitude and not say, none your business. How are we going to do this? Well, for you, those of you who are, technically savvy, there's a QR code that you can just take your phone, take a picture, and it's a parish survey. For those of you who are not too tech savvy, there should be one of these little sheets of paper in your pews to get a cross-section of who we have here. Some of these questions are going to seem silly. I think they're all great questions. We got them on one sheet of paper. If you use your phone, you could just submit it in your phone. If not, you can use a piece of paper. So I'm going to go through these one at a time. And all these questions are important. The first one is a huge question. What is your gender? There is only two. And you don't get to decide what you feel like. So you have to pick one. Also, number two, what is your age? Not what age do you feel like, but facts are facts. Please don't lie. This is an anonymous thing, but God knows. So please be honest. What is your age? Number three, this one says, select the description that best applies to you. Whether you're single, never married, you're single, divorced, or widowed, single, separated, or annulled, or if you're married. We'd like to find out how many people are married. Number four, do you have any children, and what ages are they, from 0 to 18? Now, we did that 0 to 18 because when you're 18, you're an adult. The answer to that is either yes or no. Yes or no. I have children between 0 to 18. Now, number five is an interesting one. And this is the one I'd like to know. How long have you been attending St. Luke's? There are visitors here today. This is their first time. This might be you. Less than a year, 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10 years. Some of you have been here since the beginning. We'd like to know where you are and how many we have. Now, starting with number 6, getting a little more serious, getting a little more sacramental. Have you been baptized? Have you been gone to confession, Holy Communion, confirmation? Are you married? Are you married in the church? Have you received the anointing of the sick? And some of you may not know, and some of you may not receive any of these. Now, we don't have holy orders on here, but we generally know who that is. Now, number 7 You might put most of these on here for number 6. Number 7 might seem like a silly question. I believe in God's existence. I do not believe in God's existence. You might say, Father, anybody here today believes in God. You'd be surprised. There are people who come here who are still struggling with their faith. There was a man who was coming here for months who told me, I'm an atheist. And I asked him, why are you coming here? Well, I like the people here and I like the breakfast. That's a legitimate answer. I always tell people there's 2 kinds of atheists in this world. Those who don't believe in God but want to, and those who just hope there is no God. Number 8, are you a Christian or not? Some of you may not consider yourself Christians. We have people in here that haven't been baptized, that they're working on it. There's people in here who'd like to get baptized or are thinking about getting baptized. They might not be Christian, consider themselves Christian. Number 9, most of you are Catholic. There are people in here who are not Catholic. And we'd like to know how many. I've seen them. Some thinking about becoming Catholic. Some they're on the way to be Catholic. Some who are coming back to the Catholic faith. We call them reverts. But what do you consider yourself? And number 10. This also may take some time. Check all that apply to you. How often do you come to Mass? Regularly? Occasionally? Do you contribute? Do you use the stuff we have here for our children? Do you attend the adult faith classes? Have you ever gone to any of our retreats? DCYC, Acts, Steubenville. Do you volunteer at the Mass? Have you ever done any of our outside, the bereavement, door to door, or any of that? Or even feed my sheep? Are you participating or have you participated in a discipleship quad? And are you a member of our various societies, Columbus, Knights of Columbus, Women's Society, Focolare, any of those? And have you been to any of our missions or lectures that we have here? We'd like to know who does. It's anonymous. You might check most of those. You might check only one. Please be honest. And last but not least, number 11. How do you like to get your information? Some people look at the bulletin all the time. Some people never look at the bulletin. Sometimes people work with email. Some people work with social media. I don't have a Facebook account. I did, but I got rid of it. Thank God I got rid of it. But the church has a Facebook account. Do you text? Some people don't. Believe it or not, some don't. And some people love the screens. Some people hate the screens. That's okay too. And we do have a parish website. Do you go there? Do you prefer that? Rank your preference from most to least. That'll give us a nice metric to see where the cross-section of our parish is. Again, we're not trying to pry in your business. Our good, the church's good, and to be able to remember as we approach Christmas, people will start asking you questions. What are you? Who are you? Why do you do such a thing? And hopefully we can answer with gratitude and joy. And what is that? Because the Lord has come and he will come again. And when we're asked or challenged about our faith, about anything personal about our Christian faith, we won't say none of your business, but we will say thank you for asking, because we are filled with joy. If you use this little thing, when the guys come around for the collection, you can just stick it in the basket, or you can just, like I said, submit it on your phone.